Well, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Corvus Crow, and I am joined by the one, the only, the legendary Reed Rapid. And I'm actually not sure of Rapid's last name here. He is a legend, though. Reed, introduce yourself to us, please.
Well, I thank you very much, Corvus. Appreciate every little part of what you guys are doing, and of course, everybody else out there for tuning in. Today, my name is Rapid. I'm currently living in Seoul, South Korea. It's 9 a.m. here
Oh,
and
early
negative
morning.
12 degrees outside. There's snow on the ground, but what better way to warm ourselves up than with the fiery passion that is League of Legends, which is theoretically why we are all here today. So it's going to be my first time casting with Corvus. It's not Corvus's first time casting either. And so together we'll be bringing you guys certainly one of the best, maybe not the best matchups, but some of the best players from today's for today's games. It's going to be Maryville taking on Michigan. And if you guys have been watching the either the ULoL campus series or just CSL, then you've definitely heard of some of the names from today's games. So we'll definitely be hyping up the players and, of course, getting into some pretty cool League of Legends games when we start.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. Specifically, Maryville has a reputation that more than just precedes them as one of the most dominant teams to ever step foot onto collegiate turf. So I'm really excited to see these guys play. I think it's going to give a lot of the viewers at home a good look into kind of what to expect from a top tier standard, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest thing to notice here is that we've got a little bit of a skill discrepancy, primarily high platinum players on the side of Michigan,
Right, yeah.
Central Michigan. On the other side for Maryville, we have primarily high challenger players, guys like Saskio and even guys like Cat God, even though the account that he's using is Diamond 3, he's been top 200 before
Okay,
in
sure.
previous seasons.
That's actually really
So
good information for me because I'd not known that. So thanks for cluing me in on that.
All right, yeah, no, don't go look at these guys and be like, "Wow, that guy's Diamond 3."
Oh
He's
man, only
not
Diamond
somebody to
3,
look
right?
at. All I'm trying to say is that I was overstating the rankings a little bit just because it's a very new season. So don't worry about all of that. We're gonna get in and judge these people by the way that they play, and hopefully you guys are gonna be excited by today's matchup. It's a best of 3, same way we always do it. It's just going to be really exciting, at least for me, to cast 2 teams I haven't had a chance to look at this season.
Right, no, I'm with you there. It's always fun to get a fresh look at teams, especially ones where, while I've not actually gotten the privilege of seeing this hyped up high level game beforehand, I'm now in a position where kind of that mystery is percolated a little bit. It's set in, and I'm just hungry for it. So there's a lot of hype from my end about this match in particular.
Yep, absolutely. I think we are about to get ready to get into game. Players just assuring me that they are at least Diamond 5 level. So
On a lease. That is the caveat there. Diamond 5 on a lease.
Got to get some certain champions in there. But either way, if you guys are from either Central Michigan or from Maryville, definitely get out there and let your friends, let your family, call your mom up. It's 9 a.m. over here, so I will not be doing that. But get out there and spread the word that the ULoL campus series is alive, well, and it's going on here today. This is not the only matchup that we're going to have. A little bit later on, we'll be having Washington versus Indiana Kokomo. So if you guys are interested, later on we'll have more announcements and information about that as the day goes forward. And yeah, like I said, the games are start.
I do have a quick announcement to make to all the players from Maryville and Central Michigan. Hop on out of the Twitch and focus on the game you have to play. What does not matter is what we are saying. What does matter is what you're planning to do and execute it. So, want to wish you all, while you're listening, the very best of luck. Good luck. Have fun. We believe in you from this end. So, that's what counts as long as you believe in yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy for me to believe in the players. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure these players are going to go out there and have a great game, right?
Right, yeah.
The only the only issue with that is that, I have, very little invested in this. The things I care about are A, is the game super sick? So that's what we're hoping for. B, do people enjoy watching it? because that's kind of my job.
Right, yeah.
A little bit.
Provide the entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And see that everything goes according to plan, and that we, get everything going. So that is what we're currently working on. Go when ready. Smiley face. Gotta be polite, guys.
Gentlemen about it, right.
Yeah, and then in the meantime, if you guys have any feedback, make sure to head on over to Twitter and let us know. It's at C Star League, just like the Twitch channel here. It's probably the best place to leave feedback, or for us each personally on Twitter at Rapidcasting or at Corvus Kovacs. Let us know what your thoughts are about today's games as we hop into Champion Select for game number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Are you certain?
Already off the bat, LeBlanc getting banned out. Gonna be a little bit tougher, I think, for the side of Maryville to actually... I'd expect to see more stock and standard bans, right? Something like Central Michigan, when you may not have done as much research on this team from that position, which I don't know if that's the case or not, because they may have actually done a lot of research. That could be one of the reasons they're on top. But I'm expecting to see some generic bans, whereas from the side of Central Michigan, I would not be surprised to see far more pointed bans at some players who have kind of built up a reputation on some of their favorites here.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you look at Prototype and you're just like, well, let me just ban the Exhaust Summoner spell. Unfortunately, you can't do that, but instead, you're probably just going to see big one-shot champions taken off the board. So that's why you're going to see the rivals, Rengar and Kha'Zix, taken out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever wants to play against Camille, and of course Malzahar banned out because he's pretty much the best support right now, which is a sentence I never really thought that I would have to say.
Right, that one kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Malzahar at the forefront of the discussion.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird because, I mean, if you told me back in Season 1 we'd be seeing Malzahar bottom lane, I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of just like where he goes. Because back in Season 1 you could take pretty much anyone anywhere.
There was no meta, you just showed up.
Yeah, man, I used to get yelled at because I didn't go to a certain lane. I was like, dude, you realize you can actually just walk anywhere. And while the meta is, it moved up and down and all around, it's currently where Malzahar sees the most play, and so he's not going to see any play, at least for this game. And of course, you were talking actually earlier about target bans. That's why we don't see the Tryndamere out there. No way, no how. Even though Ashe is picked first, it's Prime that was really the guy to worry about, which that Tryndamere.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Ashe was the first pick coming out from the side of Central Michigan, so throwing a lot down. Actually, very unsurprised to see the Zyra getting taken away as a response. Ashe Zyra has been such a popular lane all the way from, bronze elo all the way up to the top of professional play, so it's something I've had a chance to see a lot of in my previous CSL games here this season, and so actually a little bit refreshing that we're going to have those two broken up and on opposing sides. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of the picks and bans out here. Varus, Zyra, very big poke, harass lane, lots of crowd control there, and Varus, of course, being a little bit more utility focused nowadays, and with the event of some nerfs hitting other AD carries, he's definitely come into the forefront. Both teams really getting their duo lanes on. AD carries taken right off the bat, and of course there is that Elise for double lift. Gotta approve of the Elise pick. We were talking about it earlier as one of the necessary champions that
that's his Diamond 5
need to grab.
That's his Diamond 5. So apex of his potential about to be realized here. Very excited for that. The Lee Sin was the hover on the other side, and that's going to look like it may be taken away in response. Not trying to give that one through without some careful consideration. He's running out the clock.
Yeah, so running out the clock, just going to make sure that is actually what they want. So we took away one Berserker. We're still going to get another one there as Olaf gets locked in. I guess Tryndamere is actually a Warlord, not a Berserker. If you're really into your lore, then maybe that's mildly offensive. But Olaf is actually going to get locked in here. And even though Teemo has hovered, I'm probably not going to see that one out there on the Rift.
Right. I'd be glad for it. Don't get me wrong. Teemo games can be incredibly fun to cast, but I have a feeling that's not going to be their top lane pick. Mordekaiser and Ivern are the lock-ins. This draft just got very interesting.
Oh boy. Yeah, so the Ivern, actually not bad. Shadows was the one to lock that one in. He's actually got almost a 70% win rate game with Ivern. He's only played a few games with it, but definitely one of the ones he wants to go for. And depending on whether or not you want to, believe in just the strength and utility kits. I mean, Ivern has some of the most utility out of just about everyone. And even though we did see the Tryndamere band, which might be a little bit of a surprise to some people watching, the Mordekaiser is actually one of the more poignant, kind of random champions you don't expect to see out there. That modified Granby did
Ooh,
lock in. So we are
something's
going to
going on
actually,
here.
yeah, we're going to drop out of the lobby. I'm guessing that either that point was or that champion was a little bit questioned. We do allow placeholders for champions that you don't own if you want to pick them out of order for other people in your lineup. I don't actually believe that is the case. I think that's actually a Mordekaiser because earlier on when I was checking out Granby's games, he's the guy that picked it. His Mordekaiser actually pretty clean, if I do say so myself. So maybe just something to look at.
They're saying Mord was real here in the chat, so I think you were right on the money with that one. Trying to figure out what's going on. Over from the side of Maryville, it seems like they're wanting to say their last pick is Jace, and so they might just come back in. I would be unsurprised to see them run right down the same way very quickly and just cap that off with a Jace. So a little bit of a spoiler for you at home.
Yeah, so they did have that last pick, and they would have been able to pick it last anyway. No real surprises there. It looks like we're actually going to get into our game as soon as possible. Yeah, so we're just going to run it back through Champion Select one more time, and that should be exactly the same as last time. So you guys didn't miss anything. We just wanted to make sure that everything was straightened out. We're going to have same picks, same bands, and then we'll be able to get into our game. But yeah, Corvus, actually pretty interesting draft.
I am entirely in agreement. Ivern particularly is the big one for me. Seeing him jungle is usual, so for Elise to come through, suggesting heavily that Ivern will be support, I'd be very surprised to see them reverse that one. I'm excited to see this. I've not had the pleasure yet of casting an Ivern support game, so I actually don't know how well he matches up or functions in this role. And especially against a Zyra who's such a potent support right now, and if they're not careful, if they're not coming to play with this Ivern, if Shadows isn't stepping up, this could be an incredibly one-sided bot lane.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The biggest thing for me to watch out is going to be well, I can't. Okay, so here's the problem. Having met all the players from Maryville before at our championships where they did win last season at DreamHack Austin, I feel like I feel very very torn about this because if I'm like, man, this one dude just sucks. That guy has actually seen my face. He like knows vaguely where I live.
Sure.
So definitely one of the reasons involved in me moving over to Korea just to make sure that I can be as honest as possible.
You've insulated your trash talk, right?
With no fear of repercussions, so you guys are out of luck. But when it does come to talking about players' strengths, there's certainly lots to talk about for Maryville. Saskio, kind of used to seeing him play the Darius up in the top lane. Glad he's traded in his axe for a hammer. We'll see what he can do on Jace. Chody Walsh, of course, one of the more vocal, more widely outspoken players on the team. So definitely some stuff to watch out for from him. Cat God, of course. Meta abuser #1, going to be bringing out the rise there in the mid lane. A little bit of tongue in cheek there. And Prototype on a champion that deals damage at range with exhaust and flash summoner spells, all right with the world. Papa Chow playing what he is told to play down there. I'm just kidding.
Just kind of,
but it's gonna
meta pick number 2.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he's actually pretty lucky he didn't have the misfortune run against him. It's been as of late, but I'm still actually really excited to see what does come out here because this Ivern pick is going to be a little bit wacky considering that Elise has also been grabbed there. So,
well, I want to touch on another wacky point here too, is that I was fully expecting a trade for Prine and Granby, right? I was not expecting Ashe to be the one with Summoner Teleport possibly going in the top lane, and Mordekaiser, I know we saw him in the bot lane some last season, but when you toss an Ashe into the mix, it doesn't project like that's going to be the likely outcome. So
Yeah, so that's going to be AD carry Mordekaiser with top lane Ashe. Top lane Ashe is something you could pretty much do. I think last season it was there've been seasons where it's been okay because AD carries used to just get run everywhere. But that is not something that you should expect to see. The only thing I could be thinking of is that maybe they're just going to do some super wacky lanes, and Ashe is going to bring the teleport for the teleport arrow, where you fire the arrow down mid, teleport to the turret, and then get there right as the arrow hits. If you're super lucky. I'm thinking about the bonus points there, but honestly, all I'm trying to see is some success out of really any of these lanes coming out against Maryville. Central Michigan definitely has their work cut out for them. But before we get a chance to get into game and talk about exactly that work, we do have to throw it to a quick commercial break, and that means that beforehand, we have to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. And because we only have 1 minute left in our spectator delay, that shout out is going to have to be a little brief, which means that I'll be throwing in cheesy plugs all during the broadcast. So we've got 3 sponsors primarily to shout out here, and they're all going to be pretty easy. You guys, if you've watched ULoL Campus Series here on the Collegiate Star League, you know them and hopefully love them as well. So we're going to get that out of the way in about 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Band Gaming, it's a social app. It's a primary social app of CSL. If you guys want to keep in touch with your friends or anybody else that you are playing with, or of course just join the CSL group on there. Band Gaming is a great app to keep yourselves together. And of course, you can find out more at band.us/home. Twitch TV is where you're watching this. They have joined with us to help bring you guys all of the collegiate esports that we do put on here at the CSL. So we definitely want to thank them for their support, east, west, and everywhere in between. Twitch has been helping us out, so we want to appreciate them and thank them for being here with us. Of course, Asus, or Asus, if you want to pronounce it that way, is welcomed back to the CSL family this season. They provide a ton of stuff for esports, as well as tons of hardware, monitors, laptops, routers, graphics cards, motherboards, and more. So definitely make sure to show Asus some love and make sure to check them out, support them because they support us. We want to once again thank everyone else for watching as we get into our first game of the night between Maryville and their opponents in Central Michigan.
Well, nice, clean, comprehensive rundown of that. If anyone has been watching, of course you know our sponsors, and of course you know exactly how much they mean to us, making it possible to actually bring you this content. So, cannot thank them enough, and that is with complete sincerity. So never a chore to plug those sponsors, and it makes it easy. Riot tosses in a nice little 3-minute delay, so all the cheaters from Central Michigan and Maryville can't come in here and leak s7strats.gg.
All right, well, here we go. Everybody, hope you guys are ready because not only do we have some super cool champions out here today, we've got the returning champions from last season, not the champions,
Play on words.
The players who are also here from Maryville. These guys dominated when they headed to the finals at DreamHack Austin, and if you guys have been following CSL or ULoL Campus Series, you know these guys all too well. So let's go ahead and drop a quick intro for both of our teams here today as we get into our first game of the night. It's the best of 3 series, and starting out on the red side, this is Maryville University with Saskio in the top lane, Chody Walrus in the jungle, Cat God in the mid lane, Prototype in the AD carry slot, and of course his support player Papa Chow.
And on the other side for Central Michigan, contending the throne, we have Prine in the top lane, double lift, not the double lift, in the jungle on that Elise. Shyfron in the mid lane playing that TF. Granby and Shadows will round out that bottom lane with an unlikely combination of Mordekaiser and Ivern. Now, while we were running that down, we had a little bit of a cheeky level 1 start. Some running in from the side of Maryville did burn the Ghost and only really came out with positioning for it, so we'll see how that impacts the rest of the game and Chody Walrus' jungle pathing.
Yeah, that's the sending a message Ghost from Chody Walrus. If you guys knew him in real life, it would definitely not be as scary as it is when he's a Viking in game, because he's running at you and only able to throw axes, those undertows at level 1. Not super scary when you have a turret to back you up. So some strange things out on the rifts. So definitely not your average game here today, guys. Should be expecting some pretty standard play here for for Maryville.
Right.
Apologies there. I'm just trying to make sense of these lanes because these are definitely a little bit.
It's a little odd,
bit
isn't it?
odd.
Ash, Jason, the top
So
lane. That's
Saskio's
be an
gonna
exciting
cheese
one.
here.
Yeah, I don't think he can go too deep with Elise still lurking off in the wings. Might could have interrupted that blue in a best case scenario, but all in all, I'm expecting to actually see quite the damage heavy top lane, and so I think we're going to be cutting back more than a couple times in this game.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed. So what you do there is you recognize Ashe is going to have to like leash and come to lane. So probably going to come through that bush. And if she hadn't warded that, then that would actually be really, really dangerous. She could have either died or just gotten shoved out of way of lane and forced to disengage early. So we've already got root collar action in the bottom lane as well. There's going to be a lot of action here. So I'm primarily going to let you handle the play-by-play because there's a lot going on.
You got it already. I think the top lane's still the most interesting. Look at Jace going, and he's already flashed. Burns the flash from Prime, but can't quite make it happen at the very end there. So flash for flash does have lane pressure, but his health bar is super low too, and Elise is no slouch on the early ganks. If she shows herself bottom here, he may stick around, but otherwise, actually, she is going to show herself bottom.
There's the cocoon. Missing. Papa Chow getting exhausted, trying to run away.
Takes the flash out. He's all right. That's every summoner in the bottom lane for the side of Maryville already burned, whereas Modified Granby still has all his stuff. But they're not done, actually. Prototype will be first blood, giving over all three champions, getting in on the love, and they're not done. Look at this. Papa Chow might die as well to the flash. He does.
Yeah, there's summoner heal actually to give the double kill there to Mordekaiser. I'm not used to saying the name Mordekaiser now. We got a red buffed Olaf trying to run under this turret, but Prine is playing this top lane beautifully, able to give as much as he takes against Saskio.
Absolutely. The first back did just mean a few more pots, didn't take much more, so I think that's really why they're trying to abuse this here, is because Jace opted for the very aggressive, buy more damage. Who needs health when you have damage? So, I think pulling up Olaf there is maybe being a little bit wistful, but they want to dive in between the towers, and I don't think Ashe should have left that tower. This could very easily be a kill. They drop double wards, they're on to Prine, and goodbye. Saskio picks it up with the help of Chody Walrus, and they put a kill back on the board for themselves.
Yeah, so we've got AD carries dying on both sides. Gotta give some credit there. The 2-0 Mordekaiser is actually going to be really, really scary to deal with. Hextech Revolver bought already up against Prototype, who comes back to lane with a long sword. That's gotta hurt. So definitely some things to watch out for. And of course, we also have Double Lift back on the bottom side of the map with that Elise.
Right, he's just looking for a repeat gank here, and with the Hextech Revolver, I actually like the word you used, Resolver, because that definitely is going to resolve a conflict or two early on. This could be very dangerous for, keep in mind, the completely summoner spell-less lane. They do sidestep the initial CC, but there's only so far they can run, and a lot of burst to grab. Nice delay by Zyra, but not enough. Prototype goes down for that one. Really clean ganks so far from CMU, right? Just excellent coordination.
Well, I wouldn't say clean. They've missed Cocoon like 2 or 3 times, but it's not when they miss it. It's the fact that like Prototype and Papa Chow are playing very immobile champions. So if they don't land their crowd control, you pretty much just get to walk on them for free. They're also walking out in a very long lane, and they get punished for that over and over again. Mid lane, Shyfron's going to be forced to flash out because Cat God is at least playing super up to par. Got to give him some credit for holding it down in the mid lane. He's up over 10 CS, so definitely where he wants to be. And Chody Walrus has actually been doing a lot of work roaming between the top lane and the mid lane to put on pressure that's helped get his team into a decent spot, at least when it comes to those lanes.
You're not wrong. He's been making the pressure where he needs to. Hasn't had as much success as Elise. Elise has just found that one pressure point so far and stayed on it in that bottom lane, but Chody Walrus is looking to make some replies there as he's getting some early counter jungle. We'll get back to that. Papa Chow is in trouble yet again, not even needing the Elise possibly this time. Exhaust does go down. They might turn it around. Free Papa Chow does. He takes Granby, but meanwhile in the top lane, Saskio's looking like he's going to die. Double Lift takes that one up, but the action's not done yet. Shadows has gone down to a gank from Chody Walrus, helping pick that one up. Now we've got pushes on both sides as I believe they're settling in for the first tower race.
Yeah, and that first tower race is going to be pretty real. I'm pretty sure that Maryville is going to win that. They do just have more champions and minions, so that's looking good.
Right there.
Yeah, at least coming up top lane, trying to help that, but Cat God did choose the right lane to go towards, and so he will be able to save that turret. That will give the first brick over to Maryville when they do decide to take this bottom turret down.
Just bleeding off the wave a little bit, giving Prototype the lion's share of the gold. So 650, no slouch, definitely trying to catch him up to that deficit. Probably not a deficit anymore. In fact, yeah, that does put him just 300 gold ahead of the 2-1-1 Mordekaiser. So excellent play there.
Yep, and there he will be. So nice to see some evenness coming out here early on. You get to kind of see the true colors of what these teams are trying to do. For Maryville, maybe needing to put some respect on the name because they did not necessarily know what they were getting themselves into bottom lane. They do have confidence in their strategy, but man, double lift.
I think he's in trouble here. Does rappel up, and actually a cheeky little hop back down might try to get himself out of this one, but I think they have enough to just chase him right through. The grasping roots from Zyra does cement his fate there.
Yeah, Papa Chow with the assist there. Nice guys, Chody Waller to Saskio to give him the assist gold there. But Kakaw's getting ready for the dive. Shyfron.
He's in trouble. Goodbye. Wasn't even a contest. Chody Walrus took a little bit of damage on the nose, but all in all, relatively free kill just for some really good positioning on the side of Maryville. One thing I actually want to touch on with these guys is what's impressive to me thus far, only 8 minutes into my first ever time casting them. We'll get back to that in a second. Not a great teleport, not going to channel through, so they want to start a fight that they're not going to get to. The rest of the remaining 3 are chasing them down, but Papa Chow gets cocooned up, has to flash out. Prototype is here. We'll see what happens. Shadows is the first victim of the fight. Rappel over the wall from Elise is met with the flash of Saskio. He's going to continue on this chase and will take out the kill onto Double Lift Granby. Low health. Rise, not low health, can take the tower and give the kill over to Prototype. Oh man, just like that, just when we thought we could settle in to take a moment to talk about this game. Nope, 3 more kills on the board, possibly another mid tower if they're going to test their luck with these health bars. And Papa Chow says, we're not done yet. Half health from Shyfron under his tower. This is a dangerous game to play. I think they're all going to back off.
Okay, this is getting a little bit silly, Corvus. This is not what you should expect to see. This is a very merry, not Christmas, but it's very Maryville kind of style to play. It does seem to be directed just because there is a perceived skill gap here. However, they definitely did get punished, like I said, for not respecting their opponents early on. So we'll see exactly what effect that has on the game. The players that were at least originally very strong did get those advantages early on Central Michigan's side. They've since not really been able to channel that into too much of an advantage. Both Elise and Mordekaiser started out with those early kills to give them the gold and damage boost, but since then have not been really able to convert that. So players to keep an eye on there for Central Michigan. We'll see what they can get done.
Sure. That was a point I was trying to make before the chaos broke out, and of course, right as I start, the arrow comes down, the turnaround from Rise, Twisted Fate Ultimate. Rapid, take this fight away.
Oh boy, well, there's the Realm Warp, but gonna get stunned out of it, nowhere to run.
Oh, unfortunate. I thought that might go a little bit differently, but from the side of Central Michigan, they've dedicated a lot to the top lane. They should get the tower for this here, but they might lose the dragon. Olaf smites that away with ease, taking that ocean. So should be, Tower for Dragon's always a decent trade. It's one of the most common ones we see in League of Legends, and it's so circumstantial as to which one's better. But by devoting 3 members up to the top lane, they've left their mid entirely unguarded, and Maryville is just there to capitalize instantaneously. Oh, fight breaking out again, if you can even call it that. Really just a murder fest onto Modified Granby. They're taken out quite instantly, but Prototype not being as careful as he should be, and died due to what might have been just a little bit of miscommunication there with his team. I don't think he realized how much danger he was potentially in.
Yeah, definitely had a lot more to worry about than he necessarily realized. That is why communication is, of course, very important. I feel like, you ever gone to college and you take that class, maybe it's like underwater basket weaving, and you're like, okay, well, there's no way that this is actually going to help me later on in life. Maybe you do become a scuba diver that also needs to build ceramics, but you think to yourself, okay, well, there's not a whole lot of ways
no practical
this is going to help me. Yeah, well, for me that was speech class. I was a math major, and so I'm going to college, take this speech class and I do terribly at it. And I was like, you know what? This is just one thing that's never going to help me. And here now, this is actually literally my job. And when it comes to playing League of Legends, communication also very important. So hey, you never know what you might need. And Brian actually communicating to the rest of his team. He thinks he's got that double lift. I don't think there's any communication that could save him right now, and Chody's going to take him out.
Actually puts himself in a really good position to pop the undertow and get right into the middle of things. Does get shut down. Mordekaiser still has a lot of damage that you have to respect, and so it looks like this may get turned around, actually, as he gets another kill. Now on to Jace, Prototype, and Chow. The last two remaining members of their teams, but also the highest 2 health bars in the game and are looking for Granby. They're going to find him. Scumbag support takes it away.
And there you go, taking him out, and at least at this point, it's nice to see, at least both teams having something to say about this game. You kind of get the idea that at least when it comes to, kills, there's going to be a lot of murder on Summoner's Rift. If you need to call somebody about that, there's no ghosts here, so you can't call Ghostbusters. But you can't call 911 because that's the score line right now, and it makes a lot of sense. Nice. With as much has been going on here. I always like to see, maybe out there somewhere is, your super analytical player. They say to themselves, well, I really just like to see clean, objective-focused games where both teams are, of even skill. I'm like, okay, well, there's a time and place for that. But every once in a while, it's nice to have a good old bloody kill fest, and that's exactly what we have here on our hands. Corvus, 20 kills in 13 minutes. Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of action non-stop, and I actually like that it's not an entire blowout, right? Like, we definitely have a favorite right now just in the hands of Maryville, who's actually picked up a good amount of damage onto Prine and will take the kill, but as we've seen, Central Michigan has answers for a lot of these. They may not have an answer for this one, though, as Walrus is in there. Cat God's going to take the first kill of the fight. Shyfron will go down to the second one. Really nice execution as Prototype gets his hands in there for a double kill as well. And just like that, 4 members drop like flies for the side of Central Michigan. Wow.
Yeah, I got to give some MVP points to Papa Chow. He was able to get a super sick Strangle Thorns right on top of the enemy team. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and they do get taken out. And it's going to be even more kills coming our way. Juicy, all is as it should be. Chody's got to be a little bit careful there.
Yeah,
but
double lift is dead here. That's going to be bad for him, and I think Chody's options just got a lot broader with one less champion on the board. Prime now already slapped around a good bit, but there's the flash in from Granby. Tries to find Olaf, but can't, and now is at half health himself. Chow flashes over the wall, and Cat God trying to decide whether or not he wants in or out. He's decided out, it looks like. No, in! He's turned it around. I'm sorry, gone back. That's 1 kill. Granby's low. Not going down just yet. They want him. They can't find him, and he's escaping with very, very little HP. Shyfron may not be as lucky, and this inhibitor certainly seems to be one of the primary victims of this fight, as Prototype has his eyes set on it, and I think he's going to get what he wants, unless Elise has something to say about it. Shut down, and still going. Cat God will be the next one to die here, it looks like. No, he turns that one around onto Twisted Fate, so they're going down. Shadows is going to get flashed on, and all in all, a very scrappy fight. Some back and forth, but more forth for the side of Maryville than back, so I think they do get this inhibitor after all.
I love the vocabulary. Scrappy, definitely a great word to describe this. Also the name of a super annoying dog, so at least we're using the good version of that word to describe what has been a very, let's see, what's another good word to call it? Action-packed, there you go. Back and forth, another good word. But nothing quite like describing it based on an over 10,000 gold lead that Maryville has now established for themselves. Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that surrendering is open at 20 minutes. I don't think there's any mercy vote allowed right now because it is still a best of 3. So maybe this is the learning experiences where you maybe play at don't reveal your secret strategies so that you can use them later on, Corvus.
Right.
I don't know. That's my guess.
Maybe so. They do still have another game to turn around. That's where you want that analytical player you were talking about out there, right? That's going to sit there and say, I only want clean League of Legends. If that's on your team right now on the side of Central Michigan, you're going to be thinking, I set to the next game. 10K gold lead. They might not have a great idea of how far behind they actually are. 5 towers and 10 kills in your mind, I don't think necessarily jump straight to a 10K gold lead. Actually, we'll get back to that in a second. This could be the 1v1 we've been dreaming of in the top lane. We thought we'd get it, and it's come a little late, but here it is now. Prine, unfortunately, cannot tighten down the screws to lock that last kill in on Saskio, but saying, hey, I'm at the very least still a damage threat for this team, and something you have to consider.
Yeah, well, Chody's also a damage threat.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's actually, yeah, he actually could totally just go right back underneath that turret. But he didn't have his Ragnarok up, so that meant that he was a little bit less willing to just go for the dive that could have gotten turned around. In the meantime, second inhibitor will fall, and that's going to be big win for Maryville. I'm just trying to think of, like moderate ways to describe the insanity that has been this game.
Sure.
And, eventually you just run out of vocabulary. I've got thesaurus.com up. I'm shift F7ing as much as possible.
Excellent.
But,
let me know if you come up with any real zingers.
Yeah, I mean, when my parents made me take the PSATs, getting ready for college, I'm trying to reference college because theoretically that's kind of why we're all here.
It is the theme of the night, is it not?
Yeah, well, before I got to college, when I was taking the PSATs, you have to study those the vocabulary sections. You got to get read up on all your words. Well, that's really coming in handy today when it comes to finding out new and interesting ways to describe domination.
Absolutely. One word I will toss on is impatient, and I will apply that to Chody Walrus sitting there, decides it's actually worth it just to tank up 2 or 3 tower shots than to just wait those extra 6 seconds for his minion wave. But that's the style of play that's gotten him in trouble in positions like that. They are there to turn it around, though. Under the tower, the fight is breaking out, and Shadows will be the next one to fall. Askew wants to get that, but it actually goes over to the side of Rise. The jump on down from Varus means that this game is absolutely over. Aced at 18 minutes before they could even surrender. Varus just stat padding, possibly trying to get a little bit more gold on the board, but maybe just auto-attacking out of habit. This will be the game in under 19 minutes, Rapid. What do you think about that?
Whoa, that's actually pretty sick. Actually under 19 minutes, under by about 9. Let's see, what's the official time at the end? I believe the clock's going to stop at 18:55. The victory screen did come up.
Yeah, they leave it running for a little while nowadays, and I don't quite understand why. Riot's just trying to bamboozle people or maybe rip up some sweet stats, but we all know that this game ended around the 18:30 mark, and it was only a formality those last 20 seconds and the extra paperwork on top for the following minute.
Wow,
what a blowout.
This was an impressive performance, let's put it that way. Maryville coming out, doubling up their opponents in kills, and of course, putting down solid performances in pretty much every lane. Best score on the Rift actually going to go to Cat God in the mid lane, who finishes with 6, 2, and 11. Both getting number 2 in assists and tied for first. Tied for second.
Best stats in both kills
assists.
And deaths, sharing that with a couple of his teammates on either side, but never one on both sides. So
really impressive performance there by Maryville. We are take a quick commercial break while we try to just lock down all that goodness and think about what we just witnessed before we come back and witness it once again in game number 2, because this is a best of 3 series. So hope you guys are enjoying the games. Let us know what you have to think, and of course which team you're cheering about in chat, and we will be right back after a short commercial break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're